welcome back to Beyond the Gate, our Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood podcast. I'm Megan.
And I'm Meg.
And today we are beyond excited to talk about episode 62, A Fierce Counterattack.
Yes, I will admit I was screaming for most of this episode.
Yes,
even
I
though
heard you.
I had already seen it.
No, it was hype. This one
Yeah.
just gets your heart pumping.
Yeah. So summary of the episode. A truly epic battle erupts when Edward, Mustang, Hawkeye, Greed, Izumi, and Armstrong attack the godlike father. The odds are against the forces of good until one brave boy makes a shocking sacrifice.
Oh. And this covers manga chapter 106, Pride's Abyss, and 107, The Last Battle.
I don't think we have anything else to talk about, so...
No, let's get right into it.
Yeah. Father is above ground now. He is trying to take the soldiers' lives to make a philosopher's stone. Not funny, but there was a funny moment in the manga I was sad that they didn't put in. One of the soldiers is like, "Who the hell is this clown?" Like, well, when he comes above ground.
He does look pretty odd. He's got like his kilt-looking thing on and doesn't look like any Emestrian.
No, honestly, like this whole battle, like I was just, I wasn't imagining it, but I was like, what if like his
skirt will blow away.
Yeah, it doesn't look very,
it looks like a towel
secure.
wrapped around his waist.
Yeah.
Well, that was me in the last episode. Remember when we watched the last one and Father was like ascending up top? I was like, wow, everyone can see up his skirt.
Not so concerned about, not so concerned about modesty. Although I think did we discuss this on the podcast where we were like, do the homunculi
they wouldn't have any reproductive organs?
Yeah, they
maybe they're like
them,
the Titans and Attack on Titan. They don't have any.
Yeah.
I don't want to know. Say that. I don't want to find out.
Well, no, sorry.
Dude.
Now I'm down a rabbit hole because I'm just like, well, he cloned himself after Hohenheim, so.
And Hohenheim has kids, so obviously.
Sorry.
Back on track.
Not a tangent we need to go down.
No.
So he starts to take the soldiers' lives to make Philosopher's Stone, but Hohenheim stops him, and he arrives with May and Izumi and Al, and they're gonna fight him, and Hohenheim is angry. I feel like this is the angriest we've seen him get. He accuses Father of only destroying, and he sees humans as useless, but they are required to make his Philosopher's Stones, which are used to make homunculi. And I liked Hohenheim's line where he's like, creation is all, but you've done nothing but destroy. And Father is like, well, you know what? Then I'm gonna create. And he releases humans from his Philosopher's Stone, and it's really horrible. Everybody's like, this is not natural, because these are Xerxes people, and they've been dead for like
hundreds of years.
Yeah, a really long time. And then he like causes this huge explosion and like just destroys them all. And we go below, and Greed is taking charge. He's like, I know how to fight this guy. I'm gonna go above. But then he tells the fat frog and 2 injured women to stay behind. And this is when they learn that half of Central Command has been blown up. And Olivia is like, I'm not staying behind. I'm gonna go up and fight. Even though she's injured. But then she talks to her men above, and they're like, you taught us to fight even when you're not there. So you stay behind. And she actually agrees to it. So Sig and the normies,
people who can't use alchemy,
yeah, and the injured stay behind. And then Alex Armstrong takes them up to the fight.
Yeah, I think that was a big moment for Olivier, because I was kind of with her where it's like, don't leave her behind. I mean, this is what she's been fighting for all along, but at the same time, her arm is broken. She would be more of a liability. So I think sometimes it's harder to say no to something, and she did the right thing, and that took a lot of guts.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but even though Riza is also injured, she gets to go up with Roy because she's going to be his seeing eye lieutenant. And I love in the manga, Riza is having a really hard time staying strong because she's still suffering from the injury she got. But she gains inspiration from Roy because he hasn't given up even after all that's happened to him, and she won't give up either.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like that little scene.
Yeah.
And then Olivier, she sees the Fjord lying there dead. And Scar tells her, like, oh, I wouldn't have been able to defeat him without whoever it was that gave him the mortal blow. And she knows that Buccaneer did it, and she's proud of him.
Yeah.
But up above is the battle. We see May waking up after the huge explosion, and Al has saved her, but he is destroyed.
Yeah.
He's
His
not looking
body is
so
in
good.
pieces.
Yeah. And Ed and Izumi are also alive because they were saved by Hohenheim, who is very injured.
I think his
Father
entire
literally,
back is burnt.
yeah, he's not doing so hot. And Father literally just like tosses him aside, and he
In the
begins
manga, he
taking.
actually grabs him by the head and like yanks him away, which looked very, very painful.
He's probably delirious. He's fine. He didn't feel it. Uh, and Father begins taking Ed and Izumi's souls, but then he's interrupted by the soldiers who start shooting at them, and we hear them say, like, don't shoot Full Metal, because he and Father look so much alike, it's like hard to tell them apart. And then Father, he like, I don't know, he like gives them a look, and I'm gonna admit, for just a millisecond, I was like, ooh, you're kind of attractive, but then I was like, no, bad. Uh, um, the soldiers are shooting at him and firing cannons, and it's like not even hurting him.
Yeah, he's got some force field looking thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, Back to the point you made about the soldiers saying don't shoot Full Metal. In the manga, they make it even more evident that they have to differentiate between Ed and Father because they're like, Ed is the one with automail. Shoot the one without automail. Because he and Father, I think in the manga even more so, they look really, really similar. Not just in their complexion either, because, you know, same hair and eyes,
Mm-hmm.
but also kind of in their build too. Like when Father took on that new body, he's a little smaller and younger, and he and Ed kind of have a wiry looking athletic body.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. And also just like the soldiers are far away.
Oh yeah,
So
yeah.
from there they would even look.
Well, they just see the blonde hair and be like,
Yeah.
shoot the blonde.
Yeah. That'd be like, shoot the blonde. Shoot the blonde
Frieza might
that's
have to duck too.
well, shoot the blonde that's like not wearing any clothes.
Yeah,
That's the
that's
better
another thing.
distinction.
Like, you would think he looks different enough from everyone else just in how he's dressed.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Um, but then they're told to take cover because the Flame Alchemist has arrived. Then we
Snap,
see
snap,
someone
spark,
snap,
spark.
and there's a burst of flames.
That was awesome.
And then we get like a very like epic shot of Hawkeye, Mustang, and Armstrong like standing there looking awesome.
Yeah. I love in the manga when the soldiers hear that the Flame Alchemist is coming, their faces are just really hilarious. Like, they're excited, but also kind of scared, and they just go, oh!
Awesome. And then we see Hawkeye, as you mentioned, is directing Mustang where to fire. Um, we also see him now that he's gone through the portal, he can use the clapping. And so that's what he's doing. He's like clapping and then snapping.
So cool.
Which that would be very painful
Well,
because
yeah, he's got both of his hands
he
stabbed.
got stabbed.
But it's a good thing he did learn the clapping alchemy because his gloves were just destroyed by the blood caked on them, so he couldn't use flame alchemy anyway without his gloves. So now he doesn't have to worry about that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah. It works out for him.
Yeah, mostly.
Yeah, he's blind,
Uh,
so it's not all sunshine and roses.
nope.
Um,
At least he didn't lose an arm though, or a leg. He can still stand and fight hand to hand if it comes down to it.
mm-hmm. But he can't see where a punch is coming from.
Yeah, but if
So it wouldn't
you,
be super helpful. He would
I don't
just
know.
be like,
He could curl into a ball or something, but having your arms and legs available means that you can punch or kick if you feel a weight on top of you.
true, true. And then everyone kind of joins in the fight. We see Armstrong, he's attacking, and then we get Lanpan and the Chimeras are there too, pulling their weight. And I don't know, I just love when everybody is working together. So it's
Yeah.
awesome. And then we see Greenling, he's just watching. And he's talking about he wants it all, and he's referring to Father's power, but Ling tells him that what he's seeking is not what he actually wants.
Yeah, it's really sad because Greed's line in the anime and the manga is like, I want to fill this empty space in my heart. Like maybe finally I can find that thing that'll fill the hole.
Yeah, that is sad. It's like the classic, I don't know, trope I guess, where it's like, oh, if I just have this one thing, I'm gonna feel great. And then you get that one thing and you're like, oh,
Yeah.
wait, psych, that didn't make me feel better.
All
Um,
you need is love. Do, 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 do.
and we see again, like after everybody's attacking, that Father is still not injured. And this is when Greed attacks. He tries to punch Father right in the face, but his hand gets absorbed into his face, and Father's like, "Thanks, son. I'm gonna take your Philosopher's Stone." And Greed is like really struggling. But then he stops and he's like, "Good acting, right?" And it was really just an opening for everybody to get in closer and like attack him. And everyone we see, Ed and Armstrong are like hand in hand trying to punch him and take him down. And Izumi is awesome. She like comes in, she like makes two swords and is like hacking away at him. And Father's getting annoyed. He destroys Ed's arm, which was super cool looking.
I love
Um,
seeing all the parts of the automail, like how it works. They made it so intricate and detailed and honestly very believable that it could work as a
mhm.
functional arm. Uh, but since Ed's arm is destroyed, he can't exactly fight, but he tells himself, I can't give up, and he just swings around and tries to kick Father.
Yep, yep. And then he tries to hit him again, and this time Father uses his arm to stop him, not alchemy. And he's losing control of God, and his mouth opens and we see like the eye inside of him. And then there's like a huge explosion and everyone goes flying. And he's really losing it. And he's like, I need a philosopher's stone. I need a philosopher's stone. And he locks onto Ed, who is his, real arm is stuck like in a, I don't remember what those
It's
things are called, but it's like, uh,
structural support for a building,
yeah,
but
yeah,
he's pinned. He
yeah.
can't move. That would be so scary, though. You see the villain coming towards you, and
You
like,
can't do anything.
yeah, and in the manga, it's really creepy because I don't know why they didn't animate this, but Father's pupils have turned into like diagonal slits. They almost look goat-like, like animalistic or demonic.
Mm,
So, oh, and he's just staring at Ed hungrily.
yeah. And Al is yelling at Father to stop and for Ed to run away. But it's no use, and he asks May for a favor.
Yeah, in the manga he says there's no more time, and he could very well be talking about Edward, but I think he's also referring to himself because the cracks in his armor are starting to spread to his blood seal. So if he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
act now, he might get killed and won't be able to do anything.
Yeah, yeah. I think he says something like that in the anime too. If I'm,
Because you can see the cracks spreading.
yeah, yeah. So I think even though what he does next is hard, it's the right move because I don't think he would not have lasted much
Yeah.
longer. Um, and then we see May's little spear things land next to Ed's head, and then we see that Al is surrounded by them too. And Al, while Ed is screaming, he just says, "Keep moving, brother," and he transmutes himself.
These darn Elrics have to stop turning themselves into Philosopher's Stones.
Right? It's like their signature move at this point.
Yeah, but
Um,
oh, that boy is so brave.
he is, and we see Al inside the portal, and he reaches out his hand to his real body and um reconnects with it, and his armor kind of disintegrates, and now he's inside his body.
In the
Um,
void, just waiting.
Yep. And he sees Truth, and Truth is like, will, your brother come back? And Al's like, I have faith that he will. And Truth says something like, well, I'm curious to see what he's gonna give up this time. And then Ed's arm disintegrates on Truth, and it reappears on Ed. It's so awesome. And you were right. It is so cool in the manga because you can still see like all the parts that are like,
They're still getting combined onto his
yeah,
fingertips, and
they're like,
the art is gorgeous.
yeah. Um, and Ed is in shock, and I don't want to say that song.
Well, he basically calls
He's
Al an idiot
yeah, in
in
the
an Ed fashion.
yes, but in the manga, it's like, oh, it's like stupid brother.
I
Um,
liked that though, because it it stuttered on stupid. It went stupid brother, and I think Ed was having a hard time saying it, either because he was choked up with emotion or because he would never insult Al, like ever. He's like, you
mhm,
stupid brother. But
yeah.
oh
Ugh,
man,
that
he goes
boy.
into rage mode, which, as we have said before,
Yes.
I love when characters go into rage mode. I love when characters go into rage mode for the right reasons.
Yes, yes. He is going crazy. He's attacking father. Like, he's father just getting wrecked. He has no chance to like counterattack because it's like, Ed just, I mean, his alchemy is, and now that it's like,
It's enhanced.
it's enhanced, he like just, it's crazy. And I love it because everybody is cheering him on. They're like, go Ed, you can do it.
Kick his
Um,
butt, Ed!
yeah, yeah. And we see Greed in the background, and Ling tells him like, this is what you desperately wanted. Friends like this. And Greed's like, yeah. Like, oh
Greed's
my
about to
gosh.
cry. Yeah.
Yeah. Um, and then Ed's like epic last line. Um, he's like, get up, you novice. I'm about to show you how outclassed you really are. This fight, you lose.
Yes, which is an awesome line. However, in the manga, what he says is, get up, you third-rate fraud. I'll show you. There's no comparison between us. And that is a direct callback to his fight with Father Cornello when he said the exact same thing. Way back in the
Awesome.
beginning.
Awesome. And that is the end of the episode.
Yeah. Whew.
So good.
Yep. And okay, so tracking things. Just one thing. If Father is considered a homunculus, which I mean kind of technically he is, but not really, how many deaths did he have? Because he was blocking all of those before, but he was still burning through a Philosopher's Stone.
Mm-hmm.
But then Ed punched him and his face got like destroyed, so he had to die, in quotes, at least 1 or 2 times from just Ed thrashing him.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Even though Ed, Ed, he's not exactly a pacifist, but he doesn't want to kill, but he is out for blood when it comes to Father, because this thing just needs to be stopped.
Mm-hmm. I don't know how many deaths he had. That's because he was protecting himself, I guess.
Yeah, okay, we'll just put that one out there. I'm not going to be too concerned about tracking that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Um, yeah. But moving on to animation expertise, great action shots as always, but I really like especially the reaction scene Ed has after Al sacrifices himself. The camera movements are very dynamic, following him in the fight that ensues, but nothing gets me like strong, simple character moments like his eyes widening or like the slight differences in emotions as he's realizing what Al is doing. It's
Mm-hmm.
so good.
Yeah.
And that also segues into the story elements analysis because Al's sacrifice could be considered a death, which is part of the hero's journey. Sacrifices must be made, and this one was a full circle moment where Al gave up his soul to exchange it back for Ed's arm.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I love that moment. It's so just.
It speaks a lot to both of their
Mm-hmm.
characters.
Yeah. They love each other so much and would do anything to protect one another.
Yeah.
All right. What was your favorite line of the episode?
Mine came from Greed when they asked him what was going on topside, and he said, "Oh, not much. The father of the homunculi is going berserk out there." I love his sassiness.
Yes.
And what was your favorite line?
Mine, okay, to be honest, mine was Ed's line at the end.
Yeah.
But I also really liked Greed's line when he's talking about wanting friends, and he's like, I wanted the chance to have friends like these. Ugh, my heart.
Yeah.
All right. And then what did we learn this episode?
We learned that the bonds you form are stronger than the power you can obtain.
I'm sorry, that's just like another way of saying like power of friendship.
This is a shonen.
Yep.
But it's
No,
true
but
though,
no, but
because
yeah,
connections
no, it
with
is.
people, well, humans are relational beings, but also connections with people can lead to like way more than,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, connections with
Well,
people can lead to good things happening. They can also teach you things about yourself you never would have realized. And I don't know, they're just, people are more precious than things, obviously.
yeah, yeah. Well, that's something that I think we've talked about, not on the podcast, but like, you know, how can like good guys like go beyond like, oh, everything is like they're totally destroyed. Yet they keep fighting and win when like bad guys in the same situation when they're just as equally injured, they give up. And I think part of that is having those strong bonds. Like when you have something truly worth fighting for, you can keep going even when you don't think you can. Where, I don't know, when you're fighting for something that's not really worth it, or like fighting for yourself, it's a lot easier just to be like throw in the towel. Like,
Yeah.
I give up.
That brought to mind a quote actually from Bungo Stray Dogs, but well, my favorite character is Rampo, but he has a quote where he's facing like this impossible case he needs to solve. And people are asking him, "Hey, why don't you just give up if this is impossible? If not even you, the greatest detective ever, can solve it, what's the hope?" And he's like, "Well, I'm not giving up because my friends think I'm invincible and I have to win. And I was like, that you just need good people behind you or to be protecting your family. If
Yeah,
I was doing something for me, I
you
wouldn't be
need to have
motivated.
something to hold on to. That's just like, I know, like, one of the big factors in like people who survived like horrible situations, like it's the moment you're inside, you give up and don't
Yeah,
believe that there's anything worth living for. That's often when your body also starts finally gives in
yeah.
as well. All right. Last part, who pushed the story forward?
Al, obviously, for making the ultimate sacrifice. But we have to give everyone else an honorable mention too, because they pulled together to fight in this last battle.
Yes. That's it. Honestly, I'm gonna wait to hold off, but this might be my favorite episode of the show. But I gotta wait until we're finished.
Oh, how do you decide?
Right? But this one's so good. Um, I just love when he gets his arm back. I just love that whole moment.
Yeah.
Yes, this will be next week. We will be talking about the final 2 episodes. Yeah.
Get excited.
I am 10 billion% excited. Okay, that's enough. I, I mean, not I, we will be back next week to finish up the episodes, but we are not done yet. We will have a couple of bonus episodes afterwards.
Yes.
All right. Bye.
Bye for now.